Hello, everybody. This is Corey Funk for another episode of Funk's Film Reviews. And now I'm going on 1995, my favorite film of that year. And I made a mistake on the full saying what my favorite movies were. I was thinking for some reason, because this is going into my next year as well, but I mistaked an actress that wasn't in both Trainspotting and Braveheart. For some reason, I thought they had the same name or something. Kelly MacDonald was in Trainspotting. Catherine McCormick was her name for Braveheart. I just wanted to correct that from my very first video. And now I'm going into my favorite film of 1995. And my favorite film of 1995, directed by Mel Gibson, stars Mel Gibson. This is my third Best Picture winner. He plays William Wallace, who's a Scotsman, and also has a lot of actors like Brian Cox, Tommy Flanagan, who was in Sons of Anarchy, who plays Chibs, Patrick McGoohan, who plays Edward Longshanks, which in my opinion, actually, and with what came out that year for Best Supporting Actor categories, that I personally wish that Patrick McGoohan, this movie won Best Picture, but it didn't get a single acting nomination. But I always thought Patrick McGoohan, who played Edward the Longshanks, should have got a supporting actor nomination for his performance in Braveheart, because I think he did one hell of a job. He was an asshole, and you could tell that they made him a very memorable asshole character who wanted to they're ruining when William Wallace's wife died and all that by the English, and they want to fight for freedom, which kind of like right now we're fighting a lot of things when it comes to things like the freedom of speech and expression and all that, especially where I'm from with who's in charge with the country here. Not a fan of him. But Braveheart was a big film part of my life because my mom watched Braveheart like all the time when I was growing up, and just found out like through history we're related to Robert the Bruce, and I always thought it was kind of a cool thing. But Braveheart was just always an amazing movie to me, and like at the time, like the cinematography was great, actually decent screenplay. Also, the chemistry between William Wallace and Sophie Marceau, who I actually still think she's gorgeous. Actually, the one that played the Princess Isabella, still think she's a gorgeous woman. But the Braveheart always just had a huge part in my life because of it's actually my mother's all-time favorite film. And it became my not my all-time favorite film. It's not mine, but it's my mom's. But it is my favorite film of 1995. And there's one movie that came close that year that I also really like. My second favorite was Seven by David Fincher, but Braveheart still beat it out, I think, because it was very close to my family. But I've always thought Braveheart was a very well acted movie, and I always thought that Patrick McGoohan should have gotten an Academy Award nomination over Ed Harris in Apollo 13. Although Apollo 13 was a really good movie, I would have just got rid of that one nomination and put Patrick McGoohan in, because I just thought he did a phenomenal job playing Edward Longshanks. Rest in peace, Patrick McGoohan. You were a treasure in acting. He did a lot of stage plays and all that, but I liked his performance in Braveheart. I also liked, Brendan Gleeson, who plays Hamish, he's got himself quite a career now. He's been recently nominated a few years back with Banshees of Inisherin, and he's a pretty good actor too. And Brian Cox, there's an actor, he played William Wallace's uncle when he was getting raised as a kid and all that. And Brian Cox, like, it was funny. I was watching some other, and you know, when you go back and you watch a movie and you're like, holy cow, that's Brian Cox. And I remember seeing Brian Cox in movies like Super Troopers and just Long Island Express. And he was in a lot of films that like, but like going back, I didn't even recognize him. And then I plugged in an episode of Braveheart, and not an episode, you know what I mean, plugged in the movie Braveheart, and yeah, Braveheart didn't win the Golden Globe for Best Picture, but it took home at the Oscars Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Sound Editing, which is a category that doesn't exist anymore, and Best Makeup. But it should have, I don't know. I wish it would have had that one extra nomination for supporting actor. Because like I said, I really like that performance. But yeah, it's very sad and all that, because he's fighting, because he basically had to get married in secret. And the English found out, and they end up killing his wife, and then they get into war because they want to fight for freedom, and they want the English to stop like taking the wives. And I agree, like, you know, that's when people get married, they shouldn't have to share their wives with anybody and all that. Like, wives and husbands, if you're gonna get married, that should be a thing between you and your lover. It shouldn't be between anybody else. If you truly love somebody, you would fight for your woman's honor. You would fight for their honor. And that's something that I feel Braveheart has taught me. And like I said, it's my mother's favorite movie and became my favorite film of 1995. And it's a double gold movie. And this is this is Funk's Film Reviews. My favorite film from 1995 was Braveheart. Thank you very much. You have yourselves a good night. Bye.